to the Full Hogan Podcast. We talk about the band.
Shows.
Stories.
Events. Happenings. You know.
All of it.
And Dirty Pop.
Oh, hey. You know.
Sorry, guys. I'm drinking the rest of the Dirty Pop.
Be local, drink local.
Yeah. And I showed up to record the podcast with Nick. So there.
Yeah.
I'm drinking them.
And those were my fee for being late to rehearsal Sunday.
Yeah.
Or Tuesday. I don't know what year it is.
It was Tuesday. Because we didn't practice on Sunday.
Ooh. Yeah, we've been busy boys.
Yeah. Kind of came back from tour and
A lot of shows.
dove right back into just let's play shows at home.
Yeah, we played
good.
Aces and Ice Haus and Piper Down and a bar named Sioux State.
Yeah.
And so much time has gone by that now we're going back to play a bar named Sioux State again.
It's a good time over there, you know, as long as you don't get caught up with the wrong crowd, if you know what I mean.
I do
rough
know.
and tumblers over there on State Street, man. It's Midvale. That's my hood.
Yeah. It's just...
I saw somebody on Instagram the other day that was literally just walking up and down the streets of Midvale just talking shit. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever because I literally was born and raised in Midvale and he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
What kind of stuff was he saying?
He was talking shit on the Raising Canes that's painted with Post Malone's face and talking about how just like talking shit about there's like 50% of the residents in Midvale are meth addicts and this just dumb bullshit like that. I can't remember.
It's pretty funny.
But yeah, it was pretty good.
You know, it happens. You get wide open spaces.
I don't think that's true.
And a bunch of bored people in the desert, and you get methamphetamine.
Oh yeah, and there's definitely some seedy spots in Midvale around the freeway area. You know, where all those motels are. Yeah, been doing some local show playing.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Any weird crowd stories from the last couple of shows? Do we have any particular oddballs?
Other than like a lot of people just love to dance with my wife and like make her get out of her seat to dance with random people that she doesn't know.
Forced audience participation.
Yeah. It happened at Bar named Sioux State, the first show we played back. And it happened at Ice Haus too. It was like somebody came to the show and I think her husband has been a longtime fan. And we actually played Bark at the Moon that night. And she is a huge Ozzy fan. Just loves Ozzy Osbourne so much. And so when we did that cover, she was absolutely elated and she made sure to pull me aside at the end. Like, you did so good. And I made your wife dance. I'm like, she loves dancing with random people. She's just, the most shut-in introvert, But that's all right. Need to get her out of her comfort zone.
I mean, she doesn't
sometimes.
seem like it to me because she's at all these shows dancing.
Yeah, well. She said these are the sacrifices she makes for the band.
For real. Yeah.
And I
that's like, as much as I'm totally comfortable on a stage and performing and all of those things, forced dancing makes me uncomfortable.
For sure.
That would not be I've definitely had people be like, come on, just come on, just take my hand, come on. And I'm like, it doesn't work like that. Yeah. It's a no.
You're the only one getting joy out of this. Do you understand that? Other than that, yes. Been pretty all right.
Yeah.
I think the show at Piper, at least, wasn't there that There's one of them where there was like a wedding reception in the back.
Oh yeah, that was strange. Like Piper's just fighting right now to bring in new customers and kind of keep things flowing and moving while the economy is shitty. And they're getting creative. They're smart. I mean, they have a really good customer base from 30 plus years, but they're they've got new owners in there that have been in there for about a year, and they're starting to say, hey, rather than open the whole bar up, let's make this like a private party, and then let's put everybody in the front. If it's going to be kind of slow season anyways, let's open up the possibility of having a private party here, and I think that's a great idea. I think it'd be really fun.
They got a bar back there too, there's still access to the kitchen so people can order food if they want, but it was taking advantage of a secret little space back there.
It was a little weird for us because we just didn't know what was going on until
no one tells us nothing.
That's like the one thing is it's like, it doesn't matter if we're playing there or working there. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. If 95% of the time when I go in there to do sound, it is maybe I know who the band is, and that's about it. And that's because I went on Facebook and looked at the event page.
Did a little pre-show research.
Yeah, I usually try to like look at recent photos and that kind of stuff. So bands post recent photos of your equipment and lineup.
That's why.
Because it might help me.
Yeah.
It might help your sound guy that just they want an input list, but they're not going to get one. They're going to make their own.
Well, in this day and age, I mean, you kind of, if you're going to be a musician, it also helps to be a content creator. It just does.
Yeah. I mean,
of some sort,
It would be nice to know that you exist.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had a few bands that have played there that have zero social media.
That's just wild to me.
And I'm like, how do you guys do?
Yeah. I was talking to...
They usually have zero people that show up for the show.
Yeah.
Because zero people know about it.
There's a dude at my work who's got a little solo project going on, and let me listen to his stuff, and he's just asking me about how he gets in to start playing shows, and I was just like, well, you got to do a little work, man. You got to be present. So treat it like another job.
It is.
Sometimes that's how it takes.
It is a work.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. We don't know how the world works.
Speaking of which, Nick's been doing a hell of a lot of work lately. Getting or making sure that our shows have been filmed and taking that footage and turning it into awesome content, which is cool.
Go check it out on YouTube. Yeah. But you'll probably see the shorts sooner or later. We're chopping up show footage, we're chopping up podcast footage, and we're going to put it out there.
Heck yeah. Content for y'all.
We've always got new footage coming to YouTube all the time. So that's kind of a great place to hear what the band sounds like live, too.
Most definitely. There's some bands out there that when they do live footage videos, they just use their recorded music.
They just dub over.
Yeah. Not us. That's live shit. Not poking any bellies there.
Yeah.
Murphy and the Glant.
Just
kidding, I love you guys.
Murphy and the Giant have had a wildly successful TikTok.
For sure.
And all they do is they take their studio versions of the music and they match it up to a couple clips of them playing live. And like to somebody that edits that all the time, it's like, yeah, whatever. But what the thing that they actually kick ass at is they write a hook for every one of those. Mm-hmm. So when you're just doom scrolling on TikTok and it's just like, come with me, and then it's like, buy the new I can't believe I got this for the price of a burrito. And then you're just, and then you hit Murphy and the Giant, and you're like, whoa, finally something. Mm-hmm. And it says, like, if you're reading this, you found us.
Yeah.
Like, if you're reading this, then your algorithm's got to be amazing because, you know, this Irish punk is not trending in 2025. So you must be a connoisseur of the ear.
Yeah.
They've got some kind of boiled down hook that pulls people in, and it's kind of brilliant.
Yeah.
We love them.
Oh, yeah. Love them to death. Love to give them shit, but love them more, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. There was like, we're really good friends with everybody from Secret Souls too. And Crespo and I like just hung out at Piper Down for like 20 or 30 minutes one night after I finished a show, and I was just told him all the weird stories from doing sound there, and because it's either him or me. And then there's a couple other people that cover, but we moved over from the Garage on Beck when that shut down and became kind of the main sound people there, and he manages the calendar, so I kind of wanted to just like report back to him what it had been like without documenting that somewhere it could be screenshotted.
Yeah.
Because it was, you know, it was a little juicy.
I bet.
You know, there was some stories in there.
You start swapping the battle stories with coworkers, it can get mighty juicy.
But he's another person that I knew about before I knew, because their band, formerly Spirit Machines, had flyers that were just really well produced all over the city. I was seeing stuff for their shows.
Too.
They had like this whole marketing plan in place. And you know, there's this idea in marketing that's been out for 30 years that you don't need to be like everyone doesn't need to be your customer. You don't need to be a business for everyone. You need to have like 1,000 customers. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of had this whole thing where they reverse engineered that, and they're like, we have space for 1,000 fans. That's it. That's all we want. So if you want to be one of those people, this is what you got to do. You got to sign up for our email list. We're going to send you the music. We're going to send you a t-shirt. Like, stay engaged with us. And we really want to cater to a small group of people.
That's cool. I didn't know they did that.
And you know, they were doing this, and then COVID happened and like pulled the rug out from under them. But like, they were in the process of building a local music venue, and they were going to have like merch in the front of it. They were going to have everything, and so on. And then, you know, they kept trying stuff. And then one day they covered a Tool song, and Maynard shared it on the main Tool page.
What?
And then all of a sudden they had like 7 million views on some Tool cover that they did. And they had this massive fan base all over just because they just were persistent doing these things. Yeah. And anyways, the band had like a little falling out, and the two main people left, and the other two people left, and they're like, we get the name. And they're like, okay, great. We're the ones that are actually doing all the shit. So good luck with that. We'll find another drummer and a bass player. No problem. Or whatever. Whoever it was.
That's probably, I think it was the drummer.
It's because it's always the fucking drummer, isn't it?
But I'm glad that they got my friend Jude on, because
he's a cool
incredible
dude.
And he's a really nice dude.
And so now, you know, they're back at it, and they're revamping some of the stuff that they're doing. They covered that same song with the new lineup. They're shooting film, everything, but all just to come back to the thing that they've got like a very specific campaign, and it's like, you know, as another musician in the scene, it's like you might look at some of the tone of that and whatever, and who they're trying to hone in on, and it's like, it's not for me, and it's also like, yes, it's not for you.
Yeah,
like we're not trying to turn our extended family, our uncle, into a fan. We're trying to find people, like, if you think about it, there's this group of people that are willing to listen. There's a group of people that are willing to listen to music from your genre that you exist in. And out of that, there's a small subset of them that are even interested in new bands. And that's who you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
There's so many people that listen to an album in high school and just go, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need any new music from now on.
I'm that way a little bit.
Sure. We've all got those like curated tastes
For
too.
sure.
But you know, every once in a while something new will come along and it will reshape that a little bit. You know, we're all starting to get to the age where we're seeing the people in high school now listening to stuff that was popular in the 90s.
Yeah.
And clothing.
When my older siblings were in high
Clothing
school.
trends that were popular in the 90s, and fucking Junko's coming back and all these things, and it's different and it's weird, you know.
It literally was only probably maybe less than a decade that the last Gen X clothing shut down.
Yeah.
And I'm like waiting for like a
It's
Gen
just
X
gonna
to
pop
open
right
up,
back
dude.
up again.
They closed too soon, man.
Yeah.
Because they carried that style for so many years after it was out of style.
Yeah,
and now it's back.
And that was such a just the name sake, you know.
Yep.
It's like having a $5 pizza, knowing that pizza's like gonna eventually cost a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens. It's cyclical, but also,
For sure.
you know, plan a name that's gonna outlast a generation if you really want to outlast a generation.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
I remember I'd get my extra tall A shirts at Gen X.
Oh yeah.
They sold them in black and they like went down past your butt.
It's nice. You got to get we used to go there and have stuff custom lettered
Oh, nice, yeah.
because they had those like you'd pick the letters and they'd just lay it out and iron it on. That was always hilarious. Well, I was just looking through my podcast questions here, making sure that I didn't miss anything that was extremely important. We got band practice tomorrow. That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm
Moses flying back tonight.
getting everybody back together. Moses is flying back from his painting stuff tonight. Sebastian, I think, had a show with his other band. Something, because he took his kick
practicing
drum
with them, because I think he does have a show with them next Friday.
Oh, it's next Friday. Yeah. I forget that.
I think he's playing on Black Friday with Rationalist.
Yeah. We were just listening to the band next door, Restroyer. And I'm going to be doing sound for their show at a bar named Sue next Friday, the 28th. Fun. So, I mean, that could be this Friday, the 28th, by the time that we release this.
Yeah.
We usually do two of these episodes at once.
Yeah.
So then we never really know how to talk about dates. We're not trying to hide the fact that we do 2 episodes at once. It's just a better schedule.
That's the smart way to do it.
That's a smart way to do it. Some people record their whole season of podcast. But we usually like to do 2 episodes at once, and then that way it gives me time to kind of bulk edit it and bulk work on it. And then, then the following Monday we have off. Because if we did Sunday practice, Monday podcast, Tuesday practice, that would just be excruciating every week. Because then it's like, and we also have 2 shows this week. Oh, what? That's
it's a double show weekend.
5 days a week. That's too many.
Yeah, it gets rough.
Then
you might as well be on tour.
You gotta prioritize the space in between as a rest, or it's just bad for creativity. You gotta have downtime. You gotta go out and live your life if you're gonna try to write songs that relate to other people.
Yep.
Or even your own life. You gotta be in touch with reality. At least in this band.
It's definitely helps. That's for sure.
Well. You've been tweaking your bass setup a little bit.
A little
You've
bit,
been
yeah.
adding pedals, subtracting pedals. What is it now?
Well, like that's I was actually just about to say we've been fiddling around with writing new stuff. Moses has brought us a couple of songs that he's been working on.
Yeah, those will be fun.
There was a day that me and Seb were here and just kind of noodling around on bass and drums.
Ooh, that's good.
And might have come up with something kind of riffy, but I think would be really cool. But yeah, as far as my setup goes, we introduced the Markbass. It's like a 210 cab, and that just to give me some on-stage rumble. So we were missing that a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
we were playing shows without a bass amp for a while, and everybody decided that they didn't like that.
Just using my little pedal preamp direct in. And it's a dark glass Alpha Omega, which is really nice. Yeah, sounds really good.
Tone's excellent.
But a lot of guys wanted that on-stage rumble back, which I enjoy it too. Well, now that we have it back, it's nice to have. But decided that I've got some pedals and I've got some need to kind of find, I don't know, just experiment and find something that might work. And
yeah, you just keep trying stuff out until you find that sound or that combo.
A Boss DD7 to my pedal board, and also I put the dark glass back on there so I can use the distortion on it because it's got a really nice bass distortion.
Yeah.
So be messing with that, get a little bit different sound, and see if
we've got a couple of old songs that get a little fuzzy, little distorted on the bass side. And then, just going forward, it's a nice way to have that as an option to write with.
Yeah. And usually when I switch things up on my rig, it almost always inspires me to write new stuff. Almost always.
I think that changing something else, getting a new thing to tinker around with, I think that's a good way to kind of light a flame again.
Mm-hmm. You can get kind of bored with how you're sounding and the way things are, and get real hyper focused on working on things, because we've been also trying to re-add some of the older songs that I haven't learned yet back to the set to kind of fatten up our set when we play long sets. I said sets way too many times right there, but
sets.
So I've been kind of hyper focused on getting those down so we can, get them back into rotation. That can it can get a little redundant, can get a little, I don't know. It's different working on other people's riffs rather than being inspired to, and a lot of it has inspired me to try new things with writing new stuff, but I definitely think that as far as me goes, adding new stuff to my rig or getting a new guitar or something like that always inspires me to write new stuff. So that's what I'm hoping.
So new songs coming. And new songs, new riffs, new pedals lead to new riffs lead to new songs, songs lead to
more folk Hogan.
More folk Hogans. Maybe we make another album.
Yeah, would love that.
That would be cool. Well, that's it. That's all we're going to talk about.
Good hanging out with you, Nick.
Yeah, it's good seeing you.
Heck yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow.
There you go.
At the rehearsal.
All right.
And in the meantime, this is a song about the fall of an empire called The Fall.